So I'm a person who has to use stuff up before throwing it out, especially with my art supplies. Today I have 4 pens that are running low on ink that I need to use up. They are the Sakura Pigment Micron pens in 005, 01, and 05, and also a Chisel Prismacolor pen. I'll be using other pens in this video too, and I'll point them out as they come along. Okay, while this isn't my first video, this was actually the first time I recorded myself drawing with the intention of showing it to people. So I was really nervous while drawing this, as in my hands were shaking really nervous. And there's the first pen to die. It went sooner than I thought. I actually drew another sketch before this, but because I was so nervous with shaky hand problem going on, plus a pen being close to dying, it just made for a really bad drawing, so you won't get to see that here. This sketch was a little better as I was starting to feel less nervous, but I still didn't feel confident, so this sketch wasn't enjoyable for me to draw. This is also when I grabbed my collection of images I got from magazines for ideas and references to kind of help me get me going. There's the second pen to die. These are going a lot faster than I thought they would. There's the white Jelly Roll pen. I'll talk more about that pen later. Filling in black areas like this, I would normally be using a brush pen, especially for the hair. But as the point of this video is to use these pens up, I had to go outside my usual drawing techniques. At this point, I felt like I should be drawing more in this sketch because I really want to use up these pens, but it was starting to look odd since I didn't plan out for the anatomy beforehand and just went vague on the shoulders and the arm. I went in with a red Prismacolor pen to make corrections, but got bored with the sketch and decided to move on. Next is what I should have done in the first place to break the nervous feeling, and that's draw in my more cartoony style. It worked and I wasn't nervous anymore. Also, yeah, now might be a good time to say that I do draw in multiple art styles, and this particular style will show up almost as often as my main style. Of course, my supposed main style will have variances to it too, but whatever. I also admit this style came into being when I was drawing a lot of Sonic fan art when I was a kid. Yeah. I just developed my own style of drawing those characters, used it for drawing human characters, and it just stuck with me since then, even though I haven't drawn Sonic stuff for a very long time. As for drawing the construction lines in pen instead of pencil, sometimes I like having my sketches look really sketchy and not perfect, just to be able to keep the original energy I drew it in and look back at my process. I just really love messy sketches, and I like looking at other artists' messy sketches because of the energy they can have. So I tend to first sketch in red or orange pen and then refine it in black. I don't always sketch like this, but this is one of my favorite ways to sketch. I think when I first started sketching this way was in my anatomy drawing class for college. For our sketchbooks, the instructor only wanted us to use 2 pens and suggested drawing first in black and make corrections with red. This didn't make sense to me since you can't see the red over the black, so I just did it the other way around. He didn't have a problem with this, and I continued to sketch like this long after class. Anyway, I'm happy with this one. I think she came out cute. Moving on to blue paper. I love sketching on colored paper. This is also why I go with the 3-ring binder sketchbook. I can put in any paper that I want. It's also great when you have those large sketch pads left over from class that you don't know what to do with. Just cut them down to the size you like and put them in the 3-ring binder. The paper I've been using in this video is regular cardstock and colored cardstock, which is my preferred sketching paper since I like mostly smooth and heavier paper over toothy and thin paper. Other papers I have in the sketchbook is watercolor paper, graph paper, old leftover sketchbook paper, different colors of cardstock, and sometimes Bristol paper. So it looks cool to see all the different paper together when I fill up a 3-ring binder. In this sketch, I used a reference picture for the hair and then ended up heavily stylizing it since I felt like drawing with more detail here. The references have been helping out for these sketches since I've been thinking of what to draw on the spot and did not do any pre-planning for this video. That's probably what made me nervous in the first place, but it's also fun to see what comes out of your brain when you're not planning things out. The chisel pen is now starting to run out here, which can make it for an interesting feather-like effect that looks great on hair. Too bad it only lasts for this short moment in a pen's life. And now the chisel pen is finally dying out. I tried to use it up long enough for the background effect, then tested on some scrap paper to use up the last of it. It's finally dead. Moving on to using a white pen, which is my favorite part of using colored paper for sketching. Here I'm using a white Jelly Roll pen. So I love Jelly Roll pens. I love using the classic and the Moonlight pens, but I don't recommend the white Jelly Roll pen. It doesn't lay down a solid enough line. It can be just difficult to use. You might be able to see how I was going over the same area with the pen a couple times just to build it up. But I'm using it because while it's not one of the pens I listed off at the start of this video, I am still trying to use it up. I actually have a separate pencil case for sketching that's filled with dying pens or pens I'm not happy with and I just want to use up as fast as possible. I feel like I got really carried away with the hair, building up so much detail. But when you're trying to kill off pens, you just keep drawing whatever and you don't think about it. Also, the 05 pen had a lot more life in it than I thought. More Toon Girls because I always have fun with this style. I didn't know where I was going with this when I started, so drawing a surprised or confused expression is one of those things that I default to when drawing without a plan. And I just thought a bomber jacket would be cute. One thing I like about this style is it helps me to unwind. If I start to feel too anxious about my drawing, I just switch to this style so I can both draw freely and still apply my skills. Yeah, this drawing has mistakes in it, but you get what I'm saying. I think it's at this point that I forgot that the red Prismacolor pen wasn't one of the pens I was trying to use up for this video because I went way overboard with it. Oh well, it made for an interesting sketch anyway. Of course I mess up and make the hair wrong, so I went in with the post-its to fix it up. But I ended up not liking how the post-its look there, so I decided to own the mistake and take them off. It's a sketchbook, you're allowed to make mistakes in it. There's that confused face I talk about how I default to, sort of. I don't really care when my sketches overlap like this. Sometimes I just use up any space there is when I feel like sketching small. Makes the finished page look interesting in the end too. Random face to finish off this page, because those are fun. In this sketch, I started to get too aware that people might actually watch this video and the nervousness hit again. I was thinking, I gotta show something different from the other sketches in this. I gotta draw a guy, I gotta draw two people interacting, just to show that I can. Which, yeah, it's a good thing to be conscious of what you're drawing and expand on what you draw. It's just, I was thinking more about what other people would think rather than what I would have wanted to draw. So because of that, I got nervous again and made a lot of mess ups. It's actually a bit hard to look at now. The biggest mistake being the guy's neck and shoulder. Everything looked fine for the most part in the red sketch, but right when I made the neck thinner, it just went all downhill. I get a bit obsessed with the messed up shoulder here, though for some reason I totally forgot I had post-its nearby that I could have just used and redrawn everything and save the sketch, even though I just used those post-its earlier. thanks for watching my video. I'll try to make more soon. Bye!